Hi, I'm Mike Butler.
Hi, I'm Katie Corelli.
And we're going to talk about the basic squash fundamentals to improve your squash game.
We hope you can learn from our video.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Katie. I've been playing squash since I was 5 years old, and that's a total of 13 years. I started in Sunday clinics and grew up into playing national and international tournaments. Squash has introduced me to many different types of people, including some very close friends, and it has also taken me to college. I'm looking forward to next year, and I also hope that you can enjoy the squash the same way I have.
My name is Mike Butler, and I picked up the game of squash when I was 17 years old. I'm proof that this game can be loved by beginners and advanced players. I love this game because it can incorporate both the physical and mental aspects of physical activity. I hope you enjoy our squash instructional video and it helps your games as much as the tips have helped my game.
A major part of understanding the squash game is understanding the court in which you play it. The squash court consists of many different red lines that all have meaning and value. The most important lines are the boundary lines. These are all over the top of the court, and they signify that if the ball goes over this line, then it is marked out of bounds and the point is lost by that player. The top of the back wall, and in this case the glass, is also a boundary, and if it goes over the glass wall, then the point is also lost by that player. Another boundary line is the bottom line on the front wall. This line is called the tin line because the material underneath it makes a different sound than the material above, so that you know when the ball strikes it. The line is also sloped upwards so that when the ball strikes it, it shoots up into the air, and the point is lost by the player who strikes the tin line or below. All of the other lines on the court are in regard to the serve. The line in the middle of the front wall is the service line. You must hit the ball above this line in order for your serve to be valid. The other lines in the back of the court are for the boundaries of the serve. If a server is serving from the right side of the court, they must stand in the small box to the right. If they are serving from the left side, they must stand in the small box to the left. Now, for the serve to be valid, you must hit it above the front wall, the line on the front wall, and must hit it into the opposite box from where you are serving from. The larger box that I'm talking about. Generally, you want to hit your serve off the side wall and then into the back corner box, but any serve is valid if it just lands in the big box. An example of a serve is this. Thank you. In understanding the dimensions of the court, it will greatly improve your squash game.
Now we're going to discuss some of the equipment used in the squash game.
The first piece of equipment we're going to discuss is the glasses. These glasses not only protect your eyes from oncoming squash balls, but also from errant squash swings.
For footwear, we use gum-soled shoes so that the courts do not get marked up and it's less slippery. And the most important piece of equipment is the racket. The styles of rackets that range in weight from 120 to 180 grams. You can use different strings on your racket and
different grips. All different racket companies come with different standard grips, but you can rewrap the grip anytime you want. It's very easy. One of the most important fundamentals of squash is the grip. Now, the main part of the grip is to have it exactly perpendicular to the floor. But the way you do this is you have your thumb touching your middle finger and you put your forefinger pinched around the end. Now, some people may screw this up. If you have a closed grip, when you put it along your side and cock your wrist, the racket will seem like this. That is not how you do it. That is incorrect. Another incorrect method would be to have it open like this, and that is also not perpendicular to the floor. You need to make sure that racket stays perfectly perpendicular to the floor. That way, when you make a nice easy swing, it'll go right towards the front wall.
forehand swing. To do so, you need to start in stutter step position. This is when your knees are bent So, to start your forehand swing, you need to bring your left foot around so that you're stepping in towards the ball. You need to provide adequate space between you and the ball, but you also need to be leaning forward. This means that your chin, your knee, and your toes are all lined up so that you have your weight forward and you're ready to hit a ball with some speed. Now, to swing, you bring your racket back, make your arm into a C shape with your elbow bent and your wrist cocked. And then you pull your racket around so that it is above your head, but not too high, not too low, just so that you can get enough speed so that the ball will go to the back of the court. Now, when you step into the ball, you need to make sure that when you hit the ball, the racket will be parallel with you and your body, so that you're not thrown off balance and that you can give the ball the most power possible. To follow through, to direct the ball, you need to align your shoulders to where you want it to go. So say I want the ball to go in a rail, which is a straight shot to the back of the court. I'm going to direct my shoulders so that they are parallel to the sidewall and the ball goes straight after I hit it. So to take a swing and to go through, hit the ball here, and then follow through so that I can direct the ball after I've hit it. This will complete your swing. This is an example of a forehand. This is a backhand. To do a backhand, you need to make sure that your chin, your knee, and your toes are all lined up over your right foot. Now, to hit a backhand straight, you need to align your shoulders again with the wall so that they're parallel to the sidewall. You need to place, for your backswing, you need to place your racket again a little bit over your head, cock your wrist, and bring your elbow in towards your torso. Again, you need to have that C-shaped swing. Okay, so you bring your elbow around and you need to rotate your torso so it's facing towards the back wall. This way you'll get enough power to bring it back to when you hit the ball, it'll come back to the corners and back wall. So now you need to bring your racket down, and again you need to hit the ball when it's parallel to your body. So you should be hitting the ball about now. And when you follow through, you then need to follow through in the direction that you want the ball to go. So a good backhand swing will look like this. This is an example of a backhand. As the most important component of the squash game, the serve starts off after rally. To hit a serve, you need to have at least 1 foot in the service box. This would be your right leg. On both serves, when you're hitting, you hit a forehand for both serves, and you always have your right leg in the box. To hit a serve, you need to have your racket back as you are hitting a normal shot and be prepared to throw the ball or drop the ball, and so that you can hit it up and to the other side. When you aim it towards a little bit to the right if you're on the left side of the court, and a little bit to the left if you're on the right side of the court, so that the ball has angle and goes in towards the wall and is difficult for your opponent to get. This spot, for me serving on the left side of the court, is the pink paper on the wall. This is a demonstration of the serve.
While playing squash, the pink markers are the ideal places to hit a serve. Here's an example.
Just as important as the serve from the left side of the court is the serve from the right side of the court. Generally, you'll choose this serve because you're serving to your opponent's backhand. The first thing about the serve is position. Make sure that your right foot is in the box, your good leg away from the wall so that you won't hit it while you're swinging, and make sure that your body is positioned so it's leaning forward onto your right foot. Then, make sure that your shoulders are in line with the front wall when you're making a general forehand swing, so they're parallel with the line that you're trying to have the ball travel. So then, when your weight's on your right foot, take your racket back and swing up through the ball, maybe putting a little backspin on it, and then so it bounces off the front wall, off the side wall, and down into the corner. For example, this is how you do it. Even more important than the serve is returning the serve. And in order to do this correctly, you must make sure that your body is positioned correctly. To start out, make sure that you're a good distance away from the corner. It should be 1 racket length on a 45-degree angle. Once you have your body positioned right, make sure that your feet are right. Keep your left foot in front of your right, make sure your racket's up in the air. You want to give yourself a good amount of space between you and the wall so you can react to the different types of serves that are coming at you, whether they come off front, more forward, which you set forward, or to the back, which you set to the back of the court. An ideal serve from your opponent would be to hit off the front wall and then off the side wall where the pink piece of paper is, so that you have to volley the serve. In order to do this, take 1 step towards the wall, and then make sure your shoulders are parallel with the wall upon impact, and you're going to try and hit a rail off the front wall so that it comes back along the side wall again. This would be the ideal serve. This is how you return a serve which would go off the back of the wall before it comes to you.
This is a return of serve. To hit a return of serve, you need to make sure that your knees are bent and that you're at a 45-degree angle and your racket's legs away from the service box. You also need to make sure that you're looking at your opponent so that you can interpret each serve differently. There's some cases where you may need to volley or take it off the bounce. However, the most effective shot off of the serve is to hit a rail because it places the most space between the ball and your opponent. To do so, you need to make sure that your shoulders are again parallel to the side wall, and also that you follow through so the ball travels to the back of the court. That is a backhand return of serve. This is an example of a backhand return of serve.
This comes into play in 2 situations. One, if you're in trouble in the back of the court and you need to get it out. And the second, if you're trying to take your opponent off guard and into the front of the court. Now to hit a boast, you're going to have your shoulders angled towards the wall. One example of this is you put your feet on here on a 45-degree angle, and then you're aiming right towards the wall. Then you make a gentle forehand swing, the racket up, and you swing through, keeping your shoulders right aimed right at the wall. And if you hit it correctly, it should hit the wall here, and then all the way over here. It should hit the front wall, and then the side wall. One here, for example, of how to hit this shot. Keep your feet right towards the wall. Throw the ball up, racket back, swing through. If you hit it good, the ball should come right back through your legs.
The boast can also be used on the backhand side of the court. You basically do the same shot, except you do obviously a backhand, like as you would a backhand rail, except you do it at 45-degree angle into the side wall. When you line up your feet at a 45-degree angle, it should come right back through your legs as on the other side. Oftentimes, you need to retrieve the ball out of the back corner using a boast. The shot you'll be retrieving looks similar to this. In order to retrieve the ball out of the back corner, you need to get down into a lunge, make sure that you're nice and low. Then you need to make sure your shoulders are a little less than a 45-degree angle into the side wall. And you also need to make sure that when you swing, you follow through upwards so the ball travels and is able to make it to the front wall without hitting the floor. The shot you hit will look similar to this.
You used to get yourself out of troubled situations. In this situation, the ball is going along the rail, and it's going to bounce once on the floor, then off the back wall, and then on the floor again. In order to hit this shot and recover, you want to take your left foot and step towards the back corner of the wall. Make sure your shoulders are a little less than the 45 angles to the side wall. Make sure you have sufficient room to swing, and swing through as if you hit a boast from any other position in the court. Ideally, the ball goes off the sidewall and into the front wall and then drops to the ground and bounces twice before the opponent can get to it. But really the purpose of this shot is to recover yourself so that your opponent doesn't have you out of position. An example of this shot is another very useful shot is a drop shot. This shot is used to get your opponent out of position. The way to hit this shot is to keep your knees bent and swing just like a regular forehand swing. With your racket back, shoulders parallel to where you want the ball to go, and swing through towards the target. Now ideally your ball will hit off the front wall first, and then off the side wall and bounce twice before your opponent can get it. This is an example of a drop shot.
Backhand drop shot is also used to get your opponent out of position. In order to hit a backhand drop shot, you would, as any normal swing, get low into a lunge position and swing all the way through. Now, when you hit a drop shot, you need to slow down your swing a little bit, but still remember to follow through towards the corner. Your drop shot should hit the front wall and then bounce into the corner, and hopefully this will cause your opponent to have trouble retrieving. It should look something like this.
Another very good shot you should have in your arsenal is the cross court. It's a very simple shot, very similar to the forehand. Basically, you want to keep your shoulders parallel to where you want to go when the ball is coming off the front wall. Here's an example of a cross court. Ideally, you want the ball to go off the front wall and then off the opposite side wall, so it goes into the back corner of the other side and it's hard for the opponent to retrieve. That's the cross court.
Backhand cross court is also a very important shot. In order to hit a backhand cross court, you need to almost hit a rail, so you need to aim your shoulders towards the middle of the front wall. Just like the forehand cross court, you also need to make sure that your shot hits the side wall on the other side. It should look something like this. Around the court. You always come back to the center of the court, which is called the tee, because it's the shortest distance from any shot in the court. When you're on the tee, you need to have your knees bent, and you also need to have your knees over your toes so that you're ready to go in any direction. When you hit a shot, you need to take the shot, and then when you're coming back to the tee, get into a setter set position, which will allow you to be able to another shot, like so. When moving to and from the tee, you need to make sure that your center of gravity stays low so that you're able to move in and out of every shot smoothly. An example of this is Mike. The two major rules of the squash game are the let and the stroke. A let is when a person obstructs the path to the ball and the opponent asks for a let, please, to the ref. The ref may respond by either giving a no let or a yes let. A second instance is when the ref awards a stroke. This is when the opponent prevents the ball from reaching the front wall or obstructs the swing. That is a stroke. When a let is given, the point is played over, and when a stroke is awarded, the person wins 1 point.
This is an example of a let. This is an example of a stroke.
Let, please.
Strokes awarded to Katie. The best way to improve your squash game is to practice. This is done by using drills. The drill that Katie and Lexi are doing now is called rotating rails. Each player alternates turns hitting the ball along the side wall against the front wall. Watch as Lexi and Katie hit the ball off the front wall and rotate around to the tee and alternate as they would in a match. The drill rotating rails can also be used on the backhand side of the court. It's the same drill where each player rotates and then goes towards the tee. Watch as Lexi and Katie hit the ball against the front wall, back along the side wall, and rotate while keeping the body moving. The great thing about this drill is that it also will keep you in shape because you continuously move. Even if one person messes up a shot, they will keep the ball moving in the air and they'll just recover from it. This drill is called bow strike. The player in the back of the court continuously bows the ball to the front of the court, and the player in the front of the court continuously bows the ball to the back of the court. This drive is good because it helps each player's fitness because they have to go back to the tee, and if the ball drops, they're supposed to just pick it right back up and keep on going. Watch as Katie and Lexi continuously hit those drives. The player in the back of the court
Now we're going to go over some of the equipment used in the squash game. What are you doing?
I'll let you go first.
No, I'm fine. You're going to do goggles and I'm going to
Oh.
do shoes and you're going to do ball and I'm going to do racket. Or you can do goggles, ball, foul, or shoes, racket. Just do goggles. Okay, ready? Now we're going to go over some of the equipment used in the squash game.
First piece of equipment we're going to discuss is the glasses. They not only protect your eyes, but they only protect your eyes. I was going to try and go with something else. They only was one, man.
No, just say they protect your eyes
From oncoming squash balls.
from
Especially when you're trying to do
they protect
it.
your eyes from, just say they protect your eyes.
From oncoming squash balls and errant swings.
Yeah, there you go. Okay. Now we're going to discuss some of the...
I wasn't even ready.
Are you ready?
Yeah, no, man.
And the most important piece of equipment is the racket. There are many different styles of rackets that can range in weight from 120 to 180 grams. We also can use different types of strings that give a tighter or what?
Yeah.
There's also different forms of
You're
strings.
going to not get yourself in a situation where you're like, give either this or this, because then you can never come up with a guy named
Okay.
Not only are the glasses good for protection, but they're also good for eyes recognition.
Okay, wait. Yeah. And our most important piece of equipment is the racket. There are many different styles of rackets that range in And our most important piece of equipment is the racket. There are many different styles of rackets that range in weight.
Our most important is
And our most important piece of equipment is the racket. There are many different styles of rackets that range in weights from 120 to 180 grams. We can also use different strings
And each racket comes with a different grip that you can change as often as you want. All the grips are very soft, so they can go down very easily, but it's very easy to restring a grip. It's not easy to restring a grip, but it's easy to re-wrap a grip.
Wait, look, stop, pause.
When you did it, like, when you did one typing, I was like, I didn't move from the position.
Do you want me to do it again?
Sure.
Okay. And your arm should again be in V-shape or C-shape. V-shape?
Katie sucks. Ball strikes the line, it will shoot into the air, and it is easily known. Shit, it's not easily known. Another boundary line is the front line. I don't know. What was that? Another boundary line is the bottom line on the front wall. If you hit below this line, the point is called no good. And the line is also made of tin. The tin makes a different sound when the ball strikes it. boundary line is the front tin. The tin is the bottom line along the front wall, which is made of a different material than the rest of the front wall, hence why it's called a tin. When you hit the ball into the tin, it makes a different sound. The tin is also slanted back. You take the ball and you keep your shoulders exactly normal, and you hit it against the wall with a forehand swing, as so. Then,
You also need to have your back and look at your opponent. You need to have your knees bent and the position ready to move. When you return the serve, you need to Introducing Matt Dominic.
Hi, I'm Matt Dominic. I'm a three-time national champion in squash, and I like squash because it is fun.
This is the backswing.
backhand! It's a backhand! It's not a backswing.